friends, Joy over here. Thanks for watching this video and joining me on your mats today. This is Hatha Flow all levels, and I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be focusing a little bit more on building that fire as we transition into the colder, weather, cooler months. So just building that internal heat, what we call also tapas in yoga. So to spark that fire, right, that gives us motivation to do whatever we want to do. So it's important, especially as the weather gets, really cold, we start to feel tight and stiff, and also gloomy weather, sometimes you feel a little bit more tired and just not as motivated. So I hope you enjoy. We're gonna start on our backs. So we're gonna do reclined butterfly pose. So you can use blocks here if you want. You bring the knees wide and the soles of your feet to touch. You can take your hands to your belly, or you can cactus your arms here. So if you're feeling a little bit tight in your hips, groins, just rest your knees here. And start to bring awareness to the breath right away. If you had a very busy, day, depending what time you were, doing this class, take a few cleansing breaths. So inhale through the nose, open mouth, exhale. Again, breathe in and breathe out. Feel the low back heavy on the ground, the hips. As you seal your lips and just breathe in and out through the nose. Starting to disconnect from everything that's external. So any sounds, anything that catches your attention, right? So think as when you come to your yoga mat, which I consider my sacred space, right? Taking time just for myself. Your gaze creates your experience. So if you notice yourself getting distracted, especially, if you're at home or at your office, maybe close your eyes for a few moments and just see if you can start to let go of that and always go back inside. As you deepen your inhales and exhales, creating that ocean sound breath, like gently slide your hands under the knees and just windshield wipe the legs a little bit here. Good, and then hug your knees in. Again, you can rock a little bit or even draw little circles. And then we're going to take a twist here. Let your knees fall to the right as you shift your gaze to the left. If you have a big gap between your knees, you can always invite a block here. Try to stay relaxed and just focus again on your breath. Breathe deeply into the right side of your body. One more time. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. And then mindfully from the belly, slowly come back to center. And then we're going to switch sides. You may notice that one side feels a little bit more open than the other. So that's when it's nice to be able to listen to the cues, right? Listen to what your body is telling you. But if you are feeling, you know, overwhelmed or distracted, it becomes really difficult for us to actually feel. And then bring it back to center. Now we're going to start to do a few movements here, lifting the hips and moving the arms at the same time, okay? So step your feet about hip width apart, parallel to each other. Make sure you find your heels. So see if you can, you know, let your breath set the rhythm. So you're gonna inhale, lifting the hips and the arms at the same time. Bring your arms overhead, find a stretch through the front body, and then exhale, slowly round. Bring your upper back, your mid back, your hips down to the ground. Again, inhale. Lead from the core. And exhale for 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do this a couple more times. Inhale. You can even lift your heels off the ground and exhale slowly. One more time, breathe in. And breathe out. Very nice. Now we're gonna tabletop the legs here, flex through the feet. So see if you can keep your knees over your hips, or you can bring your knees closer in a little bit. Just make sure you're not lifting your sacrum off. So you wanna keep that low back long and resting on the ground. So this is stop number 1. Number 2, you can lift your shoulders off the ground and you can lace the fingers behind your head here. So breathe in and breathe out. Tap your right foot on the ground and the left. For a little bit more challenge here, you can extend your leg. So if you are taking the shoulders off the ground, you want to make sure you rest your head into that little hammock you've created with your hands. Move mindfully. Stay here for 3, 2, 1. Good. Now we're going to extend both legs. Hover the shoulders. Find a low bulge here. Gaze up. Crisscross the legs. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. Ooh, I'm starting already to feel that heat. We're gonna take that bridge one more time. You can grab the edges of your mat, or you can use a block under the sacrum. Find a nice extension. One more. And then slowly release. Start to rock back and forth the length of your spine. You can do a very small or big movement here. Good. And then let's come into a tabletop. Let's move through cat and cow. And I invite you to be curious about the breath in your body. You can sway the hips from side to side. And then press back into a child's pose. Stretch your arms away from you here. So reach those hands towards the top of the mat. Take a breath in Exhale, walk your hands to the left. Braid now from your right hip point all the way to the fingertips. And come back to center, braid in, and braid out to the other side. Good, back to center, into that tabletop. Let's open up the shoulders and the upper back a little bit, friends. So walk the hands forward. Take a big breath in, keeping the hips in line with your knees. Release your chest towards the floor. You can even bring your hands to prayer behind your head, and you're going to feel a nice stretch through the arms, the armpits. Keep pulling the belly in, contain those ribs. Now press your forearms down and find a forearm plank. So make sure, watch so your hips are not too high and not sinking towards the floor. Right, try to keep the hips about shoulder height. You can stack those shoulders over the elbows. If you prefer, you can do on your knees and straighten the arms. Now we're gonna add what we call a little inchworm here. So you're gonna move back and forth, very slow. Just a couple of inches. Again, pull the navel in, keep your neck nice and long. Engage the belly, the quads, so the legs are nice and strong and the glutes hug in as well. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a child's pose once again. You're probably already feeling that fire, right? That warmth in the belly. And press up and back to downward facing dog. Pedal your feet if it feels good. So we're going to keep it simple today, but we're going to have a few different variations here of core work that you can do on your own as well, right? Always listening to your body, respecting your limitations. Remember that yoga is a healing art. Make your way towards the top of your mat. You can take baby steps or you can jump. Soften the knees here, halfway lift. Find, again, that line from the crown all the way to your tailbone. And release. Again, breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. And breathe out, Fold Uttanasana. Roll the spine, so draw the belly in and roll each vertebrae as you come all the way up. Okay. Circle the arms. I'm going to add a little twist here. Open to the right. Now, be mindful that your hip is not following you as you twist, so keep the hips squared. Reach up and open to the left. Come back in. Exhale, fold. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale, step back to plank. Good, we're gonna hold it here. And now we're gonna do the same thing. You can do this on your forearms or come down to your knees. You're gonna just dip the hips to the left, back to center, and to the right. So if it becomes too much on your wrists, you can do on your forearms. One more time. Come back to center, lower down. You can bring your knees in first. Inhale, cobra. Press up and back, downward facing dog. Raise your right leg. Step your right foot forward. Plant your heel. Inhale, rise, warrior 1. So you can keep the hands touching. Gaze at your thumbs or bring your arms wide. Now square off the hips and watch here so the ribs raise. So see, I'm sticking my belly out in my ribs. So you want to contain everything here. Breathing right away into the hips, the legs, the spine. Good. Exhale. Step back, downward dog. We're going to go right into the other side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Step your left foot forward. Rise. 3 breaths here. Set up a strong foundation, right? Using the alignment to create stability. Soften the shoulders a bit more. Exhale. Step back to plank and flow. Make sure you wake up the legs. Downward dog. Every time you find stillness in your downward dog, reconnect to the breath. Check in with yourself. Inhale, look forward, step or jump. Big breath in, slow breath out. Inhale, rise. Hands to the heart center. Again, breathe in and breathe out, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, step back to your plank. Again, option to come down to the forearms. Now, we're gonna do plank up and down. So you drop down to your forearms. Press yourself up. We're gonna do this 2 more times. Remember to breathe. Last one. And flow. Or not. Breathe your right leg high. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, rise. Warrior 1. So we were here not too long ago. Now we're going to add a little shoulder stretch here. So take a big breath in. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet. Engage through the legs as you hug muscle to bone here. Release the neck and your jaw. One more. Release your hands to the floor, step back, downward dog. As you inhale, raise your left leg. Step your left foot forward. Rise. Take your time right during your transitions. And exhale, lace the fingers, puff your chest, breathe in, and breathe out, fold. Allow the stretch to happen. Keep the body-breath connection. Release your hands. Find your plank. Take your flow or skip. As you inhale, take your back bend of your choice. Maybe you spend an extra breath here. And we meet in downward dog. Two more breaths. Finding stillness, giving yourself permission to pause. Bend your knees, look forward. Travel to the top of your mat. Breathe in. And breathe out. Inhale to rise. Let's twist one more time. And center. To your left. Breathe in. And breathe out. Fold. Inhale. Exhale. Step back to plank. Hold. Now again, you can always come down to your knees. We're going to do shoulder taps. So right hand, left shoulder, left hand, right shoulder. Keep breathing. Stabilize through the core. For 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Take your back bend, take your time. We meet in downward dog. Right leg high. Step your right foot forward. Warrior 1. Now we're going to add a twist here. So for some of you that struggle with squaring the hips, you can walk your foot a little bit wider. But the trick here is going to be to try to keep that back heel anchored down. So you may need to shorten the stance. You do have the option to just open your arms and twist, or for a little bit more, take your hands to your heart, and then we're going to hook the elbow outside the leg. Breathe in and breathe out. Lengthen your spine and twist. Keep wrapping your right hip back. The crown of the head reaches forward. Press actively through the palms. One more. And release. Downward dog. Raise your left leg. Step your foot forward. Rise for your warrior 1. Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, hands to the heart. Breathe in, lengthen, and breathe out, twist. So again, watch so the hips are not shifting to the side. Pull that left hip back and press through the palm. Last one. Release your hands. Take your flow, or just press back to your downward dog. Breathe here. Another one. And we travel to the top of the mat. Big breath in. And slow breath out, fold. Inhale to rise. Hands to the heart center. I'm going to move through a similar flow one more time, just doing a little bit more of that core work. Inhale. And fold. Breathe in, lengthen, and breathe out. Step back plank. Now, we're gonna do side plank variation here. So you can always do this with your knee on the floor. So actually, let me show you the variation. So you take your side plank, and you can just raise your leg. Maybe you do a little bit of that side crunch that we're gonna do with the knee off the ground. So maybe you just roll to your side, raise your leg, or you can add a little crunch, reach your arm overhead, and switch. So So take your time, maybe you just pause here, or you can do that crunch, reach over. I'm gonna do this one more time each side. Last one. And flow. Breathe. And take a child's pose here. Just roll the wrists a little bit. Find your downward dog. Take your right leg high. Step your right foot forward. Now you're going to plant your left heel like you did for your warrior one. And you're going to walk your hands towards the top left corner. So if you look at my leg here, I'm bending, bend my knee deeply. So keep your knee over your ankle and walk your hands towards the top left corner of your mat. So getting a little bit here into the hip, you may feel your hamstring. Just walk your hands towards the long side of your mat, finding two straight legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Allow the spine to get long. Shake your head yes or no. We're just going to walk the hands to the left. So adjust your feet if you need. And then walk your hands so you're facing the other side, right? The back of your mat. Now walk the hands. Plant like your downward dog arms here. Don't be afraid to bend your knee, right? To feel sensation. Walk the hands back to center. Walk your feet a little bit closer in now. So you can increase a little bit the stretch into the back of the legs and the spine. You can grab your elbows opposite hands. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, walk your hands towards your right foot. You're going to step back to plank. We're going to revisit that side plank. So first, you find that regular plank. Roll towards the outer edge of your right foot. Raise your left arm. Bring your arm over your ear. So again, you can bring your knee to the floor or you can step that left foot over. For a little bit more, raise your left leg. Breathe. Keep lifting the hips, feel those obliques firing up. And regular plank, switch sides. Take your time and breathe. Regular plank, flow, or just take a child's pose, downward dog. I'm just going to roll my wrists a little bit. And then we're going to come into a tabletop and actually stretch a little bit here. So your palms, your fingers are gonna turn towards your knees, and you can do one hand or both at the same time, yogi's choice. Curl the toes under, and think as if you're going to sit on your heels. So you shift back, but keep your arms straight and make sure you're not sinking into the shoulders here. It's almost time for our cool down. We're just gonna do a little bit more. We're gonna explore a little bit inversions. If you're doing one hand at a time, you can switch and take a couple more breaths. And release. You can sit on your heels. Just roll the wrist, shake it out. And now we're gonna do the opposite. So the top of your hands are gonna be on the floor. Again, you can do one or both hands. Shift your weight back again. See if you can avoid bending your elbows. And release. Shake it out. Roll. Whatever feels good. All right, so if you already have an inversion that you like, that you prefer, you can always feel free to take a few breaths here. We say 8 to 10 breaths. I am going to be cueing us into dolphin, which is also a good foundation, a prep pose for headstand, for forearm balance. So it's a great pose to build that upper body strength, but also to really activate, fire up the core. So we're gonna do a few drills here, and you know, it's challenging, so take your time and rest in between them, okay? So first thing, bring your forearms down. And I like to wrap my fingers around my triceps here. And so my elbows are not too wide, and your elbows may start to slide out. Reset if that happens. Then take your hands to the ground here. Curl the toes under, gaze towards your feet. So see if you can keep your shoulders over the elbows, and then you walk your feet forward. You can bend your knees or even bring your feet wide. So just holding here, which is challenging enough. Press through the forearms. Allow the energy to lift. Don't hold your breath. Don't escape the pose. And release. Bring your arms by the sides of your body. Relax your forehead. All right, we're gonna do the second one. So now we're gonna be working, moving the legs. So we're gonna be raising one leg, hold for 2 to 3 breaths, and then switch sides. So setting up that foundation. Raise your leg, straighten the leg, and really reach through the foot here. Watch so your toes are not turning out, so the hips are squared. Switch sides. Press through the forearms, pull the belly in, and release. Give yourself permission to rest, to appreciate the pause. We have a couple more to go, friends. You got this. All right, so now we're gonna get things a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna turn this way. So now, raising the leg, you're gonna, that foot that stays on the ground, you're gonna roll towards your toe a little bit, so lifting that heel off the ground, okay? So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So set up. So if I start with my left leg up, I'm gonna roll towards my right foot, so coming towards just my toes. So lift and lift. Last one. Sit on your heels for a moment. So you're gonna feel that into the upper body, right? So you're shifting the weight towards that big toe. Think as if you're just gonna touch your big toe only on the ground. You're gonna do on the other side 4 times. Find your pace. Raise your right leg, lift and lift. And release. All right, not too bad, right? So now we're gonna add even more, and you can stick with any of the variations we've worked so far, or now you can start to play with little hops. So you're gonna create the L shape with your legs, and that foot that stays on the ground is gonna actually come off the ground, even if it's half an inch, you know, or if you get a little bit braver, if you're comfortable and confident, you can always, you know, go a little bit higher. You can use the wall to give you a little bit peace of mind here. So I'm gonna show you without the wall and using the wall. So here, you raise one leg, hop. Keep the legs straight, hop. And if you wanna like, oh, I really wanna go for it, so you find the wall, barely touch the wall here. Find your balance. So if you're new to Pincha Mayurasana, which is the Sanskrit name, or forearm balance, peacock feather pose, if you haven't done it, I would encourage you just working, again, doing those little hops with the L shape, and play with stacking the hip over the shoulders. Don't worry so much about both legs coming up. And then if you're doing that without too much momentum, then take one foot towards the wall, play with that balance, right? So this is super fun. It can be a little intimidating, just like any inversion, right? Getting upside down. And some days work, some days don't. So I hope you enjoy this, you know, the drills. I do have more drills to prep for this pose, but I'm sure you guys are already sweating and tired. So we're gonna just cool things down a little bit, transition more into the yin version of this class. We're gonna extend our legs. We're just gonna fold here. So rock the hips back a little bit. You can bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, exhale with a flat back fold. So I'm bending here, my knees, my hamstrings are a little cranky today. But enjoy that low back stretch. One more breath here. Slowly release. Let's take a seated twist. So keep your left leg extended, hug your arm over that right leg, sit tall. So think of that right arm as if it was your second spine, right? So it helps you to lift, tone that left leg, reach the crown of the head up, and then shift your gaze back. And release. Switch sides, plant your left foot, extend your right leg. Take your twist. And release. We're gonna come down to our backs. We're gonna take a bridge pose. So you do have the option to do something a little bit more restorative if you have a block. You can play with the lowest. I encourage you to use the mid setting, right? Or even the highest setting if you want. So place it horizontally under the sacrum, otherwise just lift your hips. We've done a lot of work here. We worked hard, so try to find balance between effort and ease. Slow down the breath. And we're gonna raise our legs for waterfall pose. And it's okay if you're not using a block, your sacrum stays on the floor. Just raise your legs, no effort here, just let your legs get heavy. Five more. Final breath. Slowly release. Hug your knees in. Wrap your forearms around your shins. Say something kind to yourself. And find Shavasana. Extend your legs, your arms. Close your eyes or find a soft gaze. And really give yourself permission and the opportunity to rest, right? To allow your body to receive, to absorb all the benefits of every single pose. Thanks again for allowing me to guide you. May you have peace, may you be happy, may you be free. Namaste.